Well, it's getting down to crunch time. I'm personally very excited for Paralyzed coming to early access, and that's coming in December. While we've seen lots of previews of the town and especially build mode and paramaker, and I think all that looks promising, I also would concede we still, of course, have questions about gameplay. And today, I'm rounding up some more recent information from dev chat to talk about family gameplay. From babies to teens, what kind of gameplay can we expect at each life stage? Now, of course, this is just a little bit of information, but I do hope you find it useful to set your expectations. As I've discussed in past videos, of course, what we get at launch doesn't mean what we're going to have long term in this game. We're going to start off with talking about baby showers. Will there be a way to do baby showers as an event where maybe you can receive a few paradigms or something? I think it could make for some exciting gameplay. Anna responded, "It is not planned for now. More generally, parties and social gatherings are actually on our to-do list for later." Honestly, I don't care that we have baby showers right away. I just don't think this is a really necessary thing. I'm not saying I wouldn't welcome baby showers in the future. Personally, I definitely don't care about gender reveals. The only thing I will say is I am curious when parties and social gatherings in general are going to come. I do feel like parties and gatherings do add a lot of dimension to your game. And while I wouldn't be throwing parties all the time, obviously parties can be used for so many different things. In that regard, I wonder, can you throw a birthday party? Probably not immediately. Someone did ask about taking care of babies and toddlers and what level of challenge there will be. Have you guys decided if taking care of babies and toddlers will be on the easier side or more challenging? Jeremy answers, "It's a bit difficult to answer because we haven't done enough playtests on babies and toddlers yet to know." And he says, "We don't know if our actual numbers for needs are good, nor where they land on the easy and challenging scale. This might change a lot during playtests and even during early access. Design-wise, we want taking care of younger parafolk to be a small challenge, but of course not oppressively hard that would turn people off from doing so. Regarding their needs, they will go down quicker than older parafolk, but it's difficult to say what that's going to be." Now, I know some people might think this is skirting the question, but honestly, I think they did the best they could. It makes sense to me they are still testing this out and don't know what level to reach. In my ideal dream game, there would be different settings, so you could have a challenging setting and one that is less so. But this is not anything I expect for Paralyzed, especially right away and maybe ever. Personally speaking, I just want them to do the best they can, and it does seem like they're trying to be reasonable. You don't want to make it so easy you don't have to do anything at all, but they also don't want your game to be entirely about taking care of the babies and toddlers. So let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Again, it is pretty subjective in terms of what is easy and what is challenging. Along the same topic, someone asked about social services. Last Patreon post was all about younger parafolk, and we had more info about how they get taken away by social services. But a question I have is, will we be able to get children back because they're in the bin or adopted by NPCs? And Jeremy answers, "At the moment, they are forever gone when they're taken away. We don't have the mechanic for players to see characters that were taken away, so this is what makes sense." I am pleased with this answer. I am glad they are including social services, and so there are still some consequences to not taking care of your kids. For me, that is plenty good enough. And so, thus far, I'm pretty pleased with their answers. There is only one little disappointment here, and that's about strollers. Will strollers for babies and toddlers be in the game? And the answer is probably not when the game releases in early access. They did say maybe in the future. So I do hope at some point we get strollers, just because I think it is very useful when you're going to a new lot and exploring the world. Again, I do understand strollers are probably pretty tricky to figure out, and I would bet that maybe they even add strollers whenever they add more modes of transportation like bikes and cars. Again, we want them to do this well, so there's no rush, but it is a feature I definitely would love to see in Paralyze. That said, now it's time to move on to children. Will children be able to do the same interactions than older parafolk, like cooking, cleaning, repairing broken objects, playing music? Or maybe they could unlock the possibility after a certain skill level. And the answer is children will be able to perform perform some skills in limited manners. For example, they won't be able to do really demanding exercise, but painting and playing music is fine. Other skills like cooking and repairing items, they'll only be able to do this in a group with a teen or older pairfolk. No matter the skill level, having a child manipulate a stove is a big no-no. Honestly, to me, this just makes common sense. I wouldn't want children to be able to do everything adults can. There are some pretty big weird issues with that. However, I do hope we get pretty robust play once they work on that. And again, I think this is just common sense. I definitely want children to be able to generally work on the same skills, but having them serve a full meal just doesn't make sense. Doing so, though, with an older teen in a group sounds pretty cute and also pretty promising. And this question is a little bit more specific. Will children and teens and preteens be upset if they see their parents arguing? Jeremy answers, that's not a mechanic we have in game. At the risk of repeating myself, it wouldn't be too hard to implement if someone felt like it. So I would personally like this. I do want to see some interactions and reactions. I feel like this is really important for family dynamics. What I would like to see is some family dynamics where they really are responding to conflict that's going on in the house. To me, this is a little bit unclear, so this is an area I definitely want some more clarity on as we get closer to the game. And another feature we can't expect is puberty. Will teens and preteens go through mood swings or get acne or have something like puberty pains? That's not something they have planned for right now. But seriously, there is a vast amount of untapped potential for child, preteen, and teen gameplay. It's just not currently our priority. We still have lots to do to finish before early access, and then at some point we'll get back to this. Now, before you react too strongly to this, do keep in mind these dev chats are from a while ago. By the time I get access to dev chats, they can be weeks old, and this is many weeks old. Now, let's go ahead and move on to schooling. Now, if you'll remember, schools are going to be rabbit holes. My hot take, I don't mind if they stay that way. Personally, I just feel like active school days don't tend to be done that well, but maybe I'm just biased from The Sims. That aside, what actually are they going to be structured like? As this person asked, what kind of grades and grade levels will the schools have? Is it an A, B, C, D, F, and elementary, middle, and high school, or some other system? Anna says for now they are keeping those grades as letters. They have an elementary and a high school. What would I like in the future? I would love private schools. I would love the ability to go to college or university. But again, do we need all that at launch? I personally don't think so. Let me know in the comments below what you would like to see for school, either at launch or way into the future. And I gotta be honest, a lot of this is still up in the air. Someone also asked about reoccurring activities besides school, such as sports, scouts, guides, or other group activities. Anna says things like clubs and planned group activities are not planned for early access, but they could come in a future update. So it sounds like all of early access, we are not going to have these clubs or potentially social gatherings. An even more particular request is all about chores. At this time, they do not have a chore system, which personally I think is just fine, but they do explain there are things you can do. And in addition, they seem open to doing something more with this. I could see us adding chore-related interactions that kids can participate in, like picking up the dishes or cleaning up countertops. But a chore system where parents could give small quests to their children. Now that I think about it, maybe parents could have together cards to ask their kids to do a chore. And if you select it, it gives you a want for the kid to do that task. I'll note that down somewhere. Thanks for the question. So this is what I love about the Paralives team. They try to be reasonable, but also are very receptive to ideas and feedback. That balancing act of making sure they're not going over their heads, but also listening to fans is fantastic. If nothing else, even if I don't agree with all their decisions, the Paralives team has confidence in their game, and that is what matters above all else. They can't please everyone, but what they can do is make the best game possible. And on that somewhat positive note, we're going to finish with a question about aging. Since there's only one adult life stage, will the game automatically age adult pairs gradually, adding skin details like wrinkles? Or will the player have to do that themselves? We're still working on that. At the moment, wrinkles appear on elders only, but we are considering many more options. Again, this is a nice to have. If they were able to implement gradual aging, that would be absolutely amazing. But do I expect gradual aging right Well, I absolutely don't. Gradual aging is very challenging, I would imagine, to implement. I think it's most important they work on the core mechanics and foundation of this game, and something like gradual aging would be very interesting, but probably not the top priority. But all that said, a mix of news, I really appreciate how they answered these questions, and even though lots remains to be seen, I do love going for these dev chats and looking for some answers. So please let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. As always, please take care, and I'll see you in the next video.